And we are back. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I hope everyone's doing well. I know it's been quite a while since this last video, or this video rather, came out, and we've been continuing on with our book series on Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Just want to apologize for those that have been following along if there is a major gap in the productions. That won't be the case moving forward, but we got a lot of things going on in my personal life as far as that goes. So if this is the first time that you are seeing me, welcome. My name is Nick Kleitch. I'm the host of the Life with Nick podcast and the creator of the Life with Nick YouTube channel. For a full kind of exclusive layout of what I do, who I am, what I'm all about, head over to my introduction page and video on YouTube. I only say that just to save us both some time. But if you're a reader and specifically in personal development or wanting to get into personal development and wanting coaching or wanting just good information, I am definitely your guy. So all things considered, for those that have been following along, we're going to be in chapter 13 today. And again, Psycho-Cybernetics. And so let's continue to move the needle from that standpoint. So chapter 13 is labeled How to Turn a Crisis into a Creative Opportunity. And as we're taking a look at this chapter and knowing how it correlates with this book, basically, as we've kind of hit on a couple different chapters of going off the road a little bit of the main theme, this here with 13 and 14 and even 15 are just going to be kind of other ways to look at using a positive self-image. And as you have changed and are changing your self-image, this is the type of information that you're going to want to lean on to just kind of give you a well-rounded experience after we've kind of done the blocking and tackling from the first couple chapters. So as we wrapped up chapter 12, we hammered on a lot of practices about bringing us peace of mind. And today we're going to really focus on some mental strategies we can use to help improve our self-image and continue to improve upon our self-image, but with that becoming who we want to be, and specifically in crisis moments and intense moments. So in life, we're going to come across intense moments. We're going to come across crisis moments. Some of these moments will define us, and some honestly will be forgotten in time. What doesn't change is the fact that they will come up in our lives. And so this message today is really about when they come up, whether it's a crisis, whether it's an intense moment. How do we approach it? Hopefully there's some tactics in here that really give you guys an opportunity to know how to lean in to them and help them as there will be evidence of who you are becoming and being a leader in these crisis moments. So real quick, when we think about a crisis, most of the time that's kind of a bone-chilling thought, right? But what we're wanting to do here is reframe a little bit and say, hey, in every crisis opportunity, or crisis moment rather, there is an opportunity for us to step up and be a leader and help those around us, help ourselves, and ultimately kind of manage the crisis moment until it is over. So know that there is a power of opportunity in crisis moments for us to, again, potentially define our life as a hero or kind of be forgotten. And so a lot of times in life, great opportunities to become the people we want to be don't just come in good moments. They come in moments where the pressure is on us, whether that is good pressure in terms of a performance or bad pressure in terms of bad weather or someone's health condition or a vehicle accident, or there's a whole bunch of just bad shit that can happen in life, unfortunately. And it's how we mentally prepare for those moments that kind of give us a little bit of a shoe-in, if you will, to being able to take advantage of that. So I should openly address that learning the associated skills with handling a crisis is not enjoyable, right? That's kind of the nature of the beast, is that these situations are intense. They are not fun. Sometimes there's so much pressure that we can fold. But yet, again, if we can reframe it to say, hey, we're going to bring in the best mental resources we can to have the most success that we can in crisis moments, that's only going to help us out. And we want to be leading in those moments and not being a spectator. So I kind of touched on this a little bit. So to break down a crisis moment, we can kind of see them in a handful of lenses. So again, crisis moments can be weather-related, health-related, all the moments that we hear about that just we never want to see happen, right? But they do. And then on top of that, you have moments of performance, sports performance, athletic performance, mental, musical, work performance, essentially a situation where we're having to perform with higher stakes than normally just our day-to-day stuff. And so this is kind of really giving us a definition of what we're learning today, right? What we're trying to dive into. So some of these strategies come from the book. Some of these strategies I've kind of written my own iteration on as a coach and as a teacher. So we're going to break these down and dive in. So strategies to help turn these crisis and intense moments into opportunities. The first strategy for helping us overcome this is practicing the event itself. If it is for a fire, if it's for a weather situation, if it's for a medical situation, any type of intense, high stress environment where we would need to perform at our best in high stakes, we need to perform 100 times in both a low stress environment and a high stress environment. And I do part those two things out because we need to very much so practice the fundamentals in low stakes. We need to know the routines that we're going through. We need to know the words we're going to speak. We're going to know the protocols that we need to put in place. And we can slow things down here and just work through them in a low pressure situation. That way, if mistakes come up, and they will, we don't have ultimately what's on the line. So we're going to start with low stress. And once we have that relaxed kind of muscle memory and mind memory, then what we're going to do is we're going to ramp it up. So once we're comfortable, then we do need to practice in replicatable high intense moments. Because if we only practice in low intense moments, when the high intense moments come, we'll be overwhelmed by the high intensity. That's what makes a crisis opportunity and a crisis moment, an intense moment, so overwhelming is we get all out of sorts. It's happening at us, not for us, and we really let all that pressure get to us. So again, once we feel good with low stress, we can get into the high stress moments and practice those. And then once we've practiced in the high stress environments, when the actual shit hits the fan, we will have this muscle memory and these protocols in place to be able to lean on to execute accordingly. So the last piece on this, in terms of just general practicing, so take the strategy that I've provided and think about a crisis moment in your life, how it would pertain to you. I'll say that very few people are just born with natural calmness, right? We see these high performers, we see these people that can go out in these crisis moments and they look effortless. Those people not only have practiced that stuff just a ton so they can be present and they can execute, but also there are some rare people that do just have a natural kind of peace to them. I would say don't rely on that. Don't rely on your instincts until you have all that practice in, and then you can rely on your instincts a little bit. So really, before we go to the second tactic, aim to get as many practice reps as you possibly can in, and then know that you've practiced so much that you can just be present and show up in the moment. The second tactic is slowing things down. So this is hard to do if you don't practice. So that's why I led with the first one, is to practice. After we've practiced, the next phase or the next evolution within practice is working on slowing things down. So if you think about a pressure situation, our environment and our physical body start to tense up. That overstimulation and overmotivation leads to interfering with reason and logic. That's when you feel pressure, like your own mind is pressuring you, the environment can be pressuring you, and we get so fast and we get so tense that we just kind of go through the moment and we're not ready for the moment. And so what we need to do is we need to learn to be able to take a couple deep breaths in and slow things down. When we're slow and we're calm, that's when we perform at our best. Going at a speed that even feels like dangerously slow, but that is when we perform at our absolute best. So when we slow everything down, we can get more of a brain map or a cognitive map of what's going on around us. Another way to look at this potentially is with experience, and this can go for work and for sport and for really anything. When you've practiced those high intense moments and when you have experience with those high intense moments, then you have the capacity to know that you've been there before and you can slow things down. And that's why champions really are champions, because everything's happening so fast around them, but they're so prepared and they have so much experience that they know that they just need to slow things down and they need to make logical decisions and communicate appropriately. So that's the second tactic within the first tactic, is slowing things down and focusing on your breathing and getting to a calm state. The second thing within that is simplicity. And I share simplicity because when we're in simplicity, we can make better decisions. So once we're slowed down, we then have the ability to lean on very simple decision making. So I'm not sure if you guys have ever read the book. It's by Jocko Willink. I'm kind of losing it right now. I think it's Total Ownership. Extreme Ownership. It's in the back there. This is a military-based book, and essentially what he says in the book, Jocko the author, is when things get really tense, we tend to overcomplicate. And so in these tense moments, we are thinking a million different things at one time. And so in the military, what they train themselves on doing is making very simple orders and simple actions. Move left, advance right, move back. Like, I know that seems so simple, but that's what we need in those moments. So when you're practicing, when you're slowed down, don't give yourself 8 things to remember, okay? You want simple communication to be delivered from yourself to yourself and from yourself to other people. And other people will see that you're calm or more calm than them, and they will follow along. So think in terms of simplicity. Slow, simple things and intense moments will give you the opportunity to execute when things are at its highest. The other thing that just came to my mind before we round this kind of upper part out is taking a step back and getting a high level perspective on things. So again, everything's going crazy, let's say, right? We need to first slow our breathing. Second, think simplicity. But third, when we take a step back and see the whole environment, take it all in, that gives us perspective to make good decisions. Okay? So when we're more present and we've slowed things down, we can get into an advantage, into a leadership position when we can see the whole thing that's going on around us. So this is a small subset, and if you can't do this, it's totally okay. But if you can and take it all in and really get a high level view, it will make those next decisions much more able to execute on. The second piece to the whole thing here, which I know I'm not doing the best job explaining all of this, but bear with me, is our mindset. So once we've slowed things down and we've simplified our thinking, we must train our mind to want to be in the moment. Calling it like having a winning mentality, believing in yourself, trusting your training, all of that works. But essentially, when pressure comes in, people begin to doubt themselves. They begin to doubt their ability, and the fear of failure and the fear of the situation overtakes them. When they're in that fear and that state, they don't believe that they can actually execute and win. And so this is going back to the practicing in high intense moments with experience. When you're in that environment and you can remain calm and simple, you have to want to be there. Because when you want to be there, then that shifts everything to I'm ready, I'm prepared, I'm still human, so I might make mistakes, but at least I'm taking ownership of that moment. And that's where we want to be, especially in work performances and sports performances. Like when it gets on the line, we have to train our mind to say, I want the ball, I know what to do, I can take control of the situation. And this isn't going to happen overnight, right? But when you actually begin to tell yourself that you want to be in that moment and you're in that moment, and let's say you fail a couple times, but then you win, and then you win again, that gives you the evidence to say, I'm the type of person that has the self-image to say when shit hits the fan, I'm the guy that you lean on, or I'm the girl that you lean on. That mindset of a winning mindset and a team mindset and a communication mindset, that's what leads to success. And you see it in sports all the time. The greats, that's what they do. They want the ball when the moments are the biggest because they want to handle that leadership orientation. And then on top of that, saying cadence is like, I'm ready to win. I want to win. I want the ball to me. I want the performance to come on my shoulders. That leads to unwavering confidence, because if you can be confident and at least be a leader in those intense moments, that will make you feel at peace at the end of the day, even if there is a failure, because you're the one that has the courage to step up and be bold and take those moments on head on, and people will respect you for that at the end of the day. So that was the first part here. And overall, this lesson's actually relatively short. So that's positive. So the second piece here, and I'll take a step back just like we practiced and slow things down a little bit, is we do need crisis and intense moments in our lives. And you might be saying, well, why would we want this, Nick? The reason for that is it really humbles you and makes you understand that you need to wake up and know that there are serious events that happen in life. And no one wants to be in these moments, right? But if we're in them or surrounding them, we now know how to step up and we now know what we need to do to succeed. So basically, the more that we can actively engage in this, the more great we're going to perform in these moments. So they help us grow, right? They put us in uncomfortable positions. They force ourselves to grow. They force ourselves to stretch, see what we're made of. And from that, the more that you're in that, the more you'll be able to operate successfully in that environment. So this is essentially how championships are won, because we get comfortable in everyday life. We get comfortable, we're unprepared. Crisis moments will reveal when we're weak and when we're unprepared and unwilling to do what it takes to win. And so when we're pursuing the goal that we're going after, when we're pursuing the work performance or wanting to be great in these moments, we have to go through and intend on going through crisis to achieve our goal. That's what creates this kind of adaptation, this mental toughness, this belief system in ourselves to be able to act when these inevitably come up, because they will. And so naturally, a crisis brings up feeling of running away, of hiding, of forcing like fight or flight, basically. And if we choose to fight, the crisis will help kind of release this additional kind of focus and this energy and this adaptation. Again, I know I use that twice, but like that will just give you a little bit more kind of mental tenacity to win. Because when you do win, that is the greatest feeling at the end of the day. When you can win the championship, when you can win the work performance, when you can win the team leadership, when you can win in crisis, that is the greatest feeling of all time, because it really reiterates the fact that you're made to win, you're born to win, and you're the one taking action in those moments. So we do, in fact, want these moments in our life, and when we do get them, we want to take full advantage of them. There's a quote from the book, and then we will round out the chapter. It says, "When great demands are upon us, if only we fearlessly accept the challenge and confidently expend our strength, every danger and difficulty brings its own strength with it. We have to make the mental decision to say, no matter what happens, I will be victorious." And I just love that quote so much, because it essentially says, when these pressurized moments get on us, and they get on everyone, there's nothing more badass than being able to win in those moments and having a winning mentality to say, hey, this is what I was born to do. I'm ready for this. There's no going back. I'm ready to step into the challenge, and I will be victorious. Okay, now this last piece kind of pertains more so to sports and major crisis related moments. And that is, don't mistake excitement for fear. So any normal person who's intelligent enough to understand that life has crisis and intense moments knows that nerves come into play. I was a former athlete. Everyone's in the workforce. Like, these things do come up, right? And sometimes we're actually excited rather than fearful. So when those nerves come, because inevitably they do, they actually can be exciting. They can be exciting in the sense that you're ready for the opportunity. You want to perform well. You want to be a great conduit for people, whatever the case is. When you reframe this, it could be a major factor to help you figure out when those present moments and pressure moments, come up. You're not nervous and fearful. You're actually excited. And there's another piece from the book that I really liked. The term spirited is actually a good one to use. The nervousness you feel before the crisis situation or intense situation can be reframed into, I have spirited energy to want to perform well, which is a net positive. It's all in how you manage and channel your emotions. So know that those butterflies are a good thing. They means you want to do well. They want to put the pressure on you because you know you can handle it. And at the end of the day, when you reframe it into excitement rather than fear, then that can kind of alter the mental preparation you have going in. So hopefully this chapter was useful in some way. I know the book is like kind of unrelated in some ways, but also related in the sense that, again, to be the best version of ourselves, we have to want these moments, and we are going to want to step into these moments with confidence and to believe in ourselves, because these are the moments that define our life. Everyday life, of course, is a contributing habitual factor to our success, but in these real big moments, that's when everyone wants to really shine. So hopefully these tactics help. Use them where you see fit. and just know that this is kind of another kind of cool piece in the greater scheme of the book. And so from here, we're going to move on to chapter 14. And thank you guys so much for listening and reading along. Cheers.